Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we're getting into another EDC multi-tool review comparison video, actually. And this is the SQT 18-in-1 versus the BIBURY 20-in-1. Now, what makes this interesting, let me just quickly take them out so you can see what we're looking at, what we're talking about. What makes this review interesting is now SQT, you can see the logos, SQT makes this same model design of the BIBURY 20-in-1, but it doesn't come with as many features. And I don't know if the tool tolerance is any better, because in this particular model here, the 18-in-1 versus this 20-in-1, I can show you here, the BIBURY is a little bit of play in the movement, not a whole lot, but a little bit. You won't notice it if you're really using the tool, opening it up, using the pliers, but just holding it and doing what I just did, you will. And this SQT, at least my version, doesn't have really a lot of play. Now, I have seen, though, that almost anybody who's reviewed this style of multi-tool, which BIBURY makes, SQT makes, I think it's called diet camping. I'm not sure. You correct me in the comments. Also makes, and each one of them has a little bit of play in it and are a little off-centered. So this might not necessarily be a thing where, the looseness of the SQT version of this will be apparent. But I digress. I kind of went on a little side rant. My point I was going to get at was the fact that, aside for possibly having tighter tolerances, maybe or maybe not, that might be depending on just the one that you happen to get, luck of the draw. The SQT version of this offers nothing better in terms of value, because it's actually more expensive. I think it's close to like $50, where link's going to be description for both of these. This one right here is $30 with a possible coupon. But this version here is $40 with a possible coupon on Amazon. And so they are a little bit closer in price, but nonetheless, I chose this version because I like the look. Also, I wanted a pocket clip. I wanted that look of more of the wave look. But right off the back, though I'm going to break it down in a comparison, I'll tell you right off the back, value-wise, you're getting more with the BIBURY. At $30, you are also getting this. You are also getting this bit kit that comes with it, mini bit kit. Obviously, you're getting a case that holds the mini bit kit. You're also getting a clamp on the back, or rather than just a basic belt holder, where the SQT, you're getting a basic belt holder. Other than that, the case is the exact same. So as I keep taking this in and out, I don't know if this is going to wear over time. Something to look for, but it's still a bonus. Now, jumping into the tools themselves, they have somewhat similar tools, but somewhat different. So I'm sure at some point someone might do a direct comparison between the BIBURY and the SQT version of the exact same tool, because there was no point to me but to buy the exact same tool. These are a little bit different, but I'm going to compare them nonetheless. So they obviously come with the belt clip, and for the best that I can tell, they're the exact same clip. Most of these companies are manufactured probably in the same factory and just put their own branding on them. But I will say there is a notable difference between sometimes certain brands putting their small spin on certain things. Like, for example, you're getting a slightly different case, or maybe even the tightness tolerance of the tool. So here, starting off, you have your fixed edge straight blade on the same side as the pocket clip. So at least in that aspect, they are similar. Now, these tools are a lot more similar than some tools because, like, say, the Fleesa, because of the fact that, or say the BIBURY 19-in-1, because they both have the large scissors and go about having that as one of the primary tools on the outside. So we're going to take a look at that now. And here you can see you have your large scissors. Now, this clicks into place nice and fine, though I've had a version of this that I gave to a close friend of mine that it did, you have to really push it hard to get to click in place, and it works fine. But I realize there is a little bit of variance that you will find with that. And that could be off any brand, so I'm not going to say that specifically BIBURY here. This one locks into place very smoothly as well. And I'm just a really big fan of the large scissors on the outside. That's my preferred tool layout. If you are the same, then both of these might appeal to you. Now, flipping to the other side, you have the serrated blade. Though here's where they slightly differ as well, because the SQT has a basic serrated blade and the BIBURY has a serrated blade with a hook on the end. I usually refer to this as a seatbelt cutter, but I guess you could use it for anything. Now, granted, you having multiple blades on these devices, you could, you know, alternatively, whatever you would use that for, just use one of your cutting blades. But it is an additional feature that is on there, and it doesn't take up any additional space or get in the way in any form or fashion. Here you have your serrated saw. And obviously the BIBURY is having these additional black coating on top. But they are the same teeth layout as well. Now, BIBURY is the only one who designs this tool type, this layout, this exact same design with the mixture of stainless steel and black, while the other ones do not. They do all stainless steel, for the best of my knowledge, that I've seen online. So just be mindful of that if you like the styling of this little mix up. And I think it's interesting that they did that, because it's a small thing they could do to kind of stand out from the crowd, which doesn't cost them probably anything in addition, but yet is a way to kind of really stand out in terms of, if you like that, you know, you can see even here little black highlights. The other one from SQT that is like this will not have any of that. So little interesting little note. Now, getting into the pliers, here's where we also have another difference between these two, though they are both outer scissor based tools. I'm throwing that out there because it's kind of one of the main distinguishing factors between, say, the tools that have the file on the outside as opposed to the big scissors. That's like such a defining factor. So kind of grouping that into this little segment of, you know, large scissors, another huge differing factor between the two is that though they have a very similar layout and tools, the plier heads are different. Now, I've seen on another channel where someone said this design is considered stronger. I don't know if that's true or not. It's stronger, they said, within the Leatherman design. I don't know if that's a general difference across the board of this design, period. So I don't really have that information, but you can see it's definitely different. And they're actually larger. At least I don't know if the actual inner material is where the performance side of it is, but the outer part of the tool of the plier heads are larger and thicker. And maybe that's where it gets more of its strength. Maybe it's considered a stronger design. That's what was mentioned on another person's channel, that that causes a stronger clamping ability. I'm not too sure. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, you can comment on that. But as far as I'm concerned right now, it's just a visual change. Now, obviously, they both are going to have their bit driver. The SQT in this case pulls out very smoothly. This one actually pulls out pretty nice also. I've had some that are a little harder to pull out. Not that it's hard, but it's you know, a little smoother on some. So you get that. And they both have the same reversible bit, double-sided bit with its where it's flathead and then Phillips. And I point that out because on a different version of the BIBURY, the Pro actually, which is actually probably my favorite of the multi-tools that I own, at least the plier-based multi-tools that I own, it has a double-sided Phillips screwdriver head or bit head, and it comes with the tiny bit kit, well, a larger bit kit, and you would have to find the flatheads in there. So having the double-sided on this is always convenient for that, for those who might not know that they come with this and might think that, you know, okay, what's the difference? But now getting to the other aspect of the tools that really is different, and I want to show it from this perspective because I think it's very interesting. And with the black coating, it makes it a little bit harder to see. The tools that are in the SQT, they only have 4 tools, and they are larger and they're thicker. And that might be a benefit in terms of the strength of them. But what I will also make note of is the fact that the BIBURY in this case has 5 tools. The SQT is actually lacking. They're lacking a file. They have a awl that is horrible, and the micro driver screwdriver is not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not removable. So I'm going to fan these out, and we're going to jump into that. But I just want to show that angle so you could see the thickness of the tools, because I'm realizing as I review different multi-tools that that's becoming a factor to notice the thickness of the tools they put in here. For one, it's a thing to note, because if you plan on doing a swap of your tools, not all of them are going to fit the same. And I don't know if in that case you need to have washers or things of that sort to make sure that, you know, they fit correctly if you were to take from one tool to the other. But also because I want to make note that I originally planned on, I had this idea and I ended up backing out of that idea, but I had the idea of taking this tool, the BIBURY 20-in-1, and the BIBURY 19-in-1, which has more of this typical wave look, Leatherman wave look, and I was going to swap tools. But then I saw the SQT and I was like, well, it has all the same features I wanted in this one, because I love the tool set in this one, but I like the look of this one. And I said, excuse me, I'm sorry for that. And I like the look of the wave look, or the wave clone look, with the BIBURY 19-in-1. So I was going to just swap all the tools from the 20-in-1 into the 19-in-1. And then I realized, well, SQT makes pretty much the same tool set as this, but the same look as the wave. So I was getting everything that I wanted. The only difference was I knew that the bit micro driver was not a interchangeable one. Other than that, I was like, cool, I can live with that. The problem is there's a big difference between this tool set and this tool set. There's a huge difference. So one, you're not getting a file. And later on, after kind of really getting into this, and at the end of this comparison between these fanned out tools here, I'm going to explain what I think they were thinking when it came to this. But one, you're getting 4 tools over here versus 5. Because of the thickness that I just showed you, allowed them to squeeze in more tools in the BIBURY than they did the SQT. But in addition to that, the tools are worse. So let's assume that the can opener is the same. Let's assume that the flathead screwdriver is the same. The awl is not. This edge on here is not a sharp edge. It's a curved edge, almost like a half tube or a half pipe. And here you can kind of see the dimension of it a little bit. It doesn't have, it's not sharp. It's not sharp on this end. Though it kind of looks, it gives that illusion that it is, it's not. In addition, it's not pointy at the tip. So essentially, the purpose of this awl is null and void. It has no point, really. Figuratively and literally, it has no point. Pun intended. So you have that. So right there, you have a wasted tool. Then the bit driver, the micro bit driver, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not ahead of its game in terms of this one, which you can spin it upside down, flip it, take it out, flip it upside down, and then you get this is the Phillips side, and then you have a flathead side. So there you go. And though the flathead side may not be as durable or strong as that flathead side, but obviously this is made for precision tooling, not strong, hard torque. So I don't think you'd be concerned with breaking your micro driver if you're using it on glasses. You know, you'd be more concerned with not overdoing the tightening on the glasses. At least that would be my thought process. So, with that being said, the awl is better on here as well. It's not super sharp, but it is pointy, where the other one's not pointy at all at the tip. It does give you an edge. It's not a super sharp edge, but it is an edge. And then you have a file. You have a file. And matter of fact, you know what I just realized now? And it just dawned on me because I was always just looking at this as just, okay, you got a file. It does at the tip of it, if you want, it has a, I won't consider it in the level of a micro driver, but it is a smaller screwdriver head. So that is an option as well. That's probably where they squeeze out the 20 tools in one. But you have this double-sided file. And even though it's a small file, because this tool trades the scissor dominance for the file dominance, and it replaces that, where other tools will have like a more dominant file on the outer tool. At least you have it as an option. This doesn't even give you that. So this is flawed compared to this in so many ways that, unless it's just you like the look of this, which is why I purchased it, but at the same time thinking it had similar tools in that outer dominant scissors, getting past that, this tool, it's not a bad tool, but for $40, when you're paying $30 for this, and it's giving you all those same tools, this is just a better tool. It's just better in every way. It's just unfortunate to me that BIBURY, with their many amazing options, doesn't create the look of the wave design with this tool layout. And that's the only thing that kind of gets me a little bit. You can get this same layout design for the most part with the SQT, with their one that is similar to a charge, like a Leatherman charge, and it has titanium on it. That one doesn't have a belt clip though on it, and it goes for $55. So these are a little bit more comparable, like I said, or you could just get the SQT version of this, but that's still smack in the face because that one goes for about 50 and this one's going for 30 and gives you more with the additional big kit. So that is the main area where these ones dominate, at least these two tools here differ, I'm sorry. And this really is a really good tool from BIBURY because it's on the lower end of the many different brands that will do this, that I have a carbon copy of this, but they do throw in a better pouch, or more usable pouch, I will say. They throw in the little bit of extras, and it's for a cheaper price than all the other brands. So for that reason, it's just the best bang for bucks. If you're going to go for this design, this is the best one. Now, when it comes to this, I'm going to say the part where I think their mindset was with this is, I think what they were trying to do, and I'm going to bring it into frame because then it'll just make it easier for me when I'm describing it and talking about it, is the BIBURY Pro. I think what they were trying to do was just simply make a smaller version of this, because you see here, they have the scissors, and in the same place where, so this one has the scissors in the same place, with this, not in the same place, but how this one has a saw. It has, let me bring it out because I'm not going to, I'm going to talk about those tools in a second, so I don't want to close the tool. Let me just bring out the saw real quick. Where they have the saw here, the issue is that you don't have a file because that saw is not interchangeable, where in the BIBURY Pro, sorry, this right here is the same slot for your file, for your saw, and any other thing that you could attach here. So that's what is a benefit to that, and why them copying the same concept in a smaller version doesn't necessarily work, because you didn't include the T-shank adapter, and you kind of can't, because this is a bigger tool. So if you put this in it, it wouldn't even close with the file in it, where for the BIBURY Pro and any other, I'm just going to call it that, but any other clone that might be in the same design, but in this case the BIBURY Pro, it doesn't close when you put the saw adapters in it, but at least you can close it by putting the T-shank adapter in it. That's fine. Where here, this size, it wouldn't close with anything in it if you had the T-shank in it, because it's just not big enough. So in addition, when it comes to these tools, and I think this is where this mimics it, this has 4 tools here. This has 4 tools also, but they don't need on this one. So the awl in this one actually was cut correctly. So maybe this is just a factory default on that one. This one does have an edge on the side. It's not very sharp. It's no, I wouldn't say it's an edge, but it's slightly, this is flat here for the most part, but you can see there's a slight bit of a curve there, but that's not what the purpose of the awl is anyway. The tip has a little bit of an edge. It's not a great edge. It's not by any means a great edge. It's not better than the edge that's on this one, but it still has a little bit of point to it, where this one literally, I can poke myself. Like, it's a little bit of an edge. But this one here, I can literally like poke myself hard and it's not going to cut my skin. It's really not an edge at all. So I'm not saying this one's that much better, but it is a little bit better. Maybe just a factory by you know, them cutting it wrong, whatever the case is. But then the layout of the tools is just 4. So they're not really much different. It doesn't have a micro driver. It has 2 screwdriver heads. And I've gone into a video of reviewing this and why that is a positive for this tool to have that, because on this side you have that bit driver like I was telling you before. Actually, I mentioned earlier in the video, this one is double-sided, the same. So having the flat heads are a benefit on that. But anyway, my point is that this one doesn't need to have a already attached file because you have that option with the T-shank. So my point that I was really getting at was that I think they simply downsized the BIBURY Pro into the smaller form. And when you do that, unless you actually make some physical changes to the design, it doesn't translate well. And I think that's the reason why this is the way it is. It's essentially a smaller version of the Pro, BIBURY Pro, but you didn't make the adequate changes to make it make sense when you downsize it. Like I said, one, you need the T-shank to switch out till you actually have a file, or you needed to shrink these instead of giving 4. Like all they did was copy what there was inside the Pro. Instead, you needed to actually get rid of these tools and then throw in maybe 5 tools like this one, make them a little thinner, slimmer to fit in here like this, and then it would have made more sense. So I think that that is where you kind of run into that issue there when it comes to that. And what's funny was that if I was going to do that approach of actually now changing one set of tools to another, this one gives me the head start having the scissors already, and it has a pretty nice tight tolerance. I would just have to dump these tools out of it and replace them with these if I wanted to do that. Right now, I'm not ready to take on that task because I really feel like I'm going to butcher it. But nonetheless, as far as this comparison goes, the SQT is not really the better value. The only reason why I would tell you to go for the SQT in this situation is simply that you want the large scissors on the outside, because other than that, it's not the better deal. And even the BIBURY 19-in-1 comparison, which I just did previously before this, is a better value if you just wanted something with a pocket clip. You didn't necessarily need the scissors on the outside. So the only purpose of this is having this kind of standard size, not the pro size of a tool with the scissors on the outside. And you want that look, specifically that combination of what I just said there. This look, scissors on the outside, you know, yeah, for this size. So those 3 things. Why? Because if you don't mind the bigger size, go with the BIBURY Pro. It's a better value, and you're getting scissors on the outside, and it gives you that general look. It's just bigger. For the tool set, if you didn't care about the look, you get this one, and it's a better tool set. And the size, like I said already with the other one. But if you didn't care about the scissors, there are other options without this scissor set. So it's just really overall, unless it particularly you want specifically this thing, it's not the better buy. Flat, hands down, flat. It's just not the better buy. So I wouldn't recommend it in that regard. But the tightness tolerance on it is better on this one. I won't say that that's worth purchasing that over this one, but that is a thing. With that being said, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, put your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.